All right, welcome everybody to the NWO show, your source for everything New World. All right, welcome everybody to the NWO. It's going to be an echo for a second here. There we go. Got rid of that one. Hey, rated with a party of 10, Clockwork Energy. Thank you. Thank you guys. Starting off big with the raids.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. McLeod is in the process of getting his camera online. Apparently, there was a small malfunction right as we started.
there was a little bit of a little bit kind of like a crossed things. I'm working on it. Part of it is down to the fact that I lost one of my monitors like the other literally like yesterday. I still haven't like fully resorted my kind of shit out essentially.
Oh yeah.
But I will be with you soon.
Yeah, until then, we've got you in the in here anyways. But it'll update when his camera does pop on. So tonight we've got kind of an interesting show. We're going to be mainly focusing on Q&A from the audience, but we're also going to be talking heavily about the open beta. Functionally speaking, how to get in, what to wait for, and some of the conditions behind the test that have made things a little bit more interesting for the start of this one. For those that don't know, the beta starts tomorrow. You can go to the Steam store right now, and you'll see a button that will show up right around here that'll say Request Access. By hitting that button, you'll queue yourself up to get an email. You'll note that this says you've requested access. Keep an eye out for an email notification from Steam when the developer is ready to accept more participants. This is because the servers have already been live, and they're up and running and doing testing, and they didn't want people to install the game and see those tests because we saw them last time, and yeah. That said, you'll get an email with a Steam key that says, hey, input this Steam key and you're good to go. When you get that email tomorrow, you can start downloading. Once you start downloading, you're good to go. There is no pre-download, so once it is in your inbox, start downloading and you can play, I believe, immediately. So that one is a big one. Thank you guys for the follows. This is awesome to start off with a raid and a number of follows and all that. Really is great. Thank you guys. So functionally, that's how you get into the open beta. Everyone will be accepted. I know that this phrasing here, ready to accept more participants, makes it seem like it's not. But functionally speaking, everybody will get in. There's no delay. They're just gonna send it out as one big bulk thing. You can uninstall the prior version of the game, yes, because the prior version of the game is going to be different than the version that you're going to need to download. So much so that it'll actually just install basically a different named version. So you can free up that space now. And if you have the alpha installed too, or any of the other testing clients, you might as well clear those off your computer to save space as well. So if you pre-ordered the game, you're gonna get in. You do still need to hit the request access though on Steam. Functionally, basically Steam is trying out this new early access request access system, and functionally Amazon is being one of the test pigs for this to see if it works at a large scale. So it's kind of a weird way to do it, but it works, and it's easier than dishing out keys the way they did before. Especially for an open beta where anybody can play the entire time. So the open beta will be open to everyone. Can we expect major changes since the closed beta? I think we're going to see a lot of balance passes. So things like the Great Axe double damage type thing is going to be gone. We're going to see, a lot of the glitches and bugs fixed. Hopefully we'll see fixes to wars. What do you think the chances are we're going to get swimming by launch? I don't think so. I haven't seen it in 3.5 years, so I don't think they're gonna sink that putt in the last month. But we can hope they add it after launch. That's for sure. I know I've been looking forward to that because that also signifies the eventuality of adding in potential of like naval combat and stuff like that. But I mean, there should be tomorrow morning. We should get the patch notes. They'll be released to the public. It's going to be an extensive list of bugs and balance changes. They might surprise us. Obviously we've seen some of the artwork and some of the early stuff for the Void Gauntlet from some of the videos that have been out there. That could happen. I'm not going to say it will, but there's a possibility that it could happen. Do you think they'll fix the life staff to remove continuous heals if the weapons weapon swap? Possibly. It depends on that one. I think they said the beta was also to test their server stability. Absolutely. So one of the things that I'm not super thrilled about is not having a preload. So in my opinion, they should allow people to preload today, but that's neither here nor there at this point. Functionally speaking, tomorrow is going to be a heavy load on the servers, but it won't be the heaviest load. Because it's a shorter test, the heaviest load will probably come Saturday, when the majority of people are off work. They've got the opportunity to have downloaded the game and functionally, be given a good chance to really start playing and see how it plays and see how it is. I think this is actually like a really strong move from Amazon because it's allowing them to showcase their game to a lot of people, allowing them to bring this to the forefront and let people try the game before they buy it, which is huge. Download size should be roughly 40 gigabytes. Possibly a little bit more than that. It'll be around 40 gigs. I think the open beta was 39 or something like that. So it's not a crazy download. Like it's not like downloading Call of Duty or something like that. But it is going to be, for those of you with slow downloads and slow connections, it's going to be a delay to start. We should definitely hope that there isn't going to be another delay. You never know how these things are going to go, but that said, I think they gave themselves enough time to fix the number of issues that they were dealing with. I know the closed beta, obviously they received a lot more bug reports than they were expecting. A lot more things that I don't think anybody was really expecting them to have. And I think the quantity overall was more of an issue where they wanted to make sure that, hey, we got to address some of these balance issues with the weapons. We've got to address wars. It's gonna be a pretty challenging. Like it was obviously they've been burning for the last probably 6 months to really get things going, and giving themselves an added month really tells you that, okay, hey, they were already pulling crazy overtime, so you can imagine that they're definitely at the point where, okay, hey, if they needed a month, they needed a month. So hopefully there won't be any more delays. I don't foresee any delays. I think everything that we saw in the open beta or the closed beta was pretty solid. I have a feeling that we may see a couple of hot patches as we go through, specifically dealing with server stability, because obviously, like, you know, these early tests are all about server stability. You know, let's make sure that in mass we can get, you know, whoever needs to connect connected. Which actually kind of goes into, you know, a little bit about the server capacity. So the server capacity, publicly, the number is about 1,000. Is over 1,000 per the official FAQ. That said, the number is more realistically in the 2,500 to 3,500 ballpark. And I would imagine that they will be playing with that number significantly. And the feedback generated from the different servers is going to be taken into account in determining the actual player count that they'll allow per server. For those that don't know what I'm talking about, the concurrent player count is what matters. So, like, you know, there could be 1,000, you know, 10,000, 30,000, 40,000 people that play on a server, but the concurrent number of players, the people playing at the same time, is the important one. You know, functionally, that's going to be the people that you run into on a day-to-day basis. You know, that you're playing with at the same time. The servers themselves can hold a crazy amount of people. Like, functionally speaking, I don't believe that there is a high-end limit. Like, at least not one that could be achieved. That said, there is a reasonable limit in terms of player density. So from there, it's really mostly about the feel of the game, and does the game feel crowded? Because there's a difference in, like, let's say you're going to take on a world boss, and you get out there and there's 15 guys waiting to take on the same world boss, just waiting for it to respawn. That's not overly fun. Like, that feels crowded. But running into another guy, you know, one or two other people that are looking to run the same mission out in the open world, that's a little bit more reasonable. There are world bosses around the map. There are elite NPCs around the map as well. You see them by finding gold-tagged NPCs. The top bar of their names will be surrounded by gold or silver, or just be the name. And that's how you can tell the different tiers of the enemies. There are a number of them around the map. They all generally have their own loot tables as well, so you can get rare or legendary gear from them. That said, you know, now that we know more about the luck system with the luck safe system, you know, I think that that's going to be an interesting way of controlling the amount of loot that comes out of those.
So, just a quick thing. I think a lot of people are not entirely certain as to what you're talking about with regards to the luck safe system. Like, should we go into that a little bit?
Yes. So, for those that don't know, you can put in a bunch of different gear and even gems and other things into your item set, that your equipped gear, that can change the amount of luck, which fundamentally is, you know, the percentage of being able to roll a higher end item from a drop in the world, from either killing an enemy or, you know, coming out of a box.
It kind of determines sort of like you'd kind of likely see it when you get a random luck roll when you're basically, cracking an iron node, for example. Like, every so often when you're cracking an iron node, you'll get like a gem, like an uncut gem, or a few uncut gems, for example. That's basically what happens, when a roll kind of occurs, and you're lucky for once, right? But you can increase that luck so that happens more often. And if you get past a certain point, you end up with being able to extract certain things out of iron nodes, like, for example, void ore. I think it comes as void ore, not void metal, but like void ore. That's kind of where you get those sorts of items. And essentially you can wear things, and you can use things with higher chances for the luck, essentially. But it affects so many different things, and one of the things that it definitely does affect as well is the drops that you get from various different world bosses and monsters and that kind of stuff, as well as chests and stuff that you have in high high level areas as well. So that's kind of that is where, but those particular things are where the luck safe system kind of comes in.
Yes. So the luck safe system is, functionally speaking, a hard limit. So it eliminates your added luck roll and basically forces you to roll the consistent thing when it comes to the loot table that's there. There's a few good questions that have come up in chat here. I want to quick address these. Do you think this game is good for PvE players too? Absolutely.
I think it's great.
Yes, it's great for both sides. There's really good PvE. There's really good PvP.
You know what I like? One of the things that I think is going to be quite interesting about New World, and when people kind of get used to it, is I think it's actually going to be a good game to introduce PvP to people who may not have considered that they would have enjoyed it in any way, shape, or form. I think because it's kind of like there's a nice sort of, there's a fairly good kind of entry level into PvP in this game. That I think that there'll be a lot of people who will be able to try out PvP without all of the really harsh downsides in a lot of other games.
Oh yeah. And especially the end game. The level cap is 60, and when you get to level 60, you actually get to play, and I'm going to bring it up here. You get to play Outpost Rush.
Yeah.
I'm just going to put that up. For anybody who wants access to this video, this is Gaming Trend. We use their content all the time on the stream because they've got a full round of Outpost Rush, and it's worth watching. Outpost Rush is level 60 content. Your gear doesn't take damage during Outpost Rush, so you can play it unlimited times and not have to worry about the durability hits for anything. It gives sizable bonuses, exclusive gear, and all of that. And functionally, it really is actually a lot of fun. It plays a lot like Domination in most first-person shooters, where it's capture two of the three bases to get more points. But there's also other objectives that you should be aware of and fight for because they are actually worth it. Did they ever put in swimming? Unfortunately, no, not yet.
I mean, I have that feeling that eventually Amazon Games will have to, or I don't think there's going to be a situation where we're going to be forcing them to put that feature in. I think they are looking to have that feature put in, but I think one of the kind of things is if they put swimming in, they need to put a system which stops you from just basically swimming off into the sunset, right? So
Ooh, the duelist with a heavy raid of 124. Ooh. Thank you.
Damn, thank you very much, dude. Welcome everybody.
Yeah.
But yeah, there is an issue when it comes to sort of surviving in water for sure in New World, but I think it is something that that New World has planned. It's just they need to they need a way of being able to prevent people from essentially swimming away from swimming away into the sunset sort of thing, and potentially also swimming around or around certain obstacles of this, that, and the other. So yeah, there's a few sort of functionality kind of issues with bringing swimming into New World right now, and I think I think New World wants to address it at some point. That's my feeling. I don't actually have anything concrete from any of the developers about that specifically. It just makes sense.
Absolutely. So in terms of new weapons, we know that there are 3 new weapons that are not going to be added for launch, but they are in the process of being worked on. We know that the Void Gauntlet that was really that we've seen video of, so we know it's in a relatively close state, but is slated for release after launch. We
Void
know
Gauntlet,
that
there's been some leaks. There's been some leaks about like the various different passives and actives in that and what they could potentially be. There's not there's not really a confirmation as to what those could be. But if those those particular leaks or those particular kind of data mines hold true, it looks like it could potentially be a weapon that will like wreak havoc with the current potential meta when it comes to large scale 50 on 50 battles.
Oh yeah,
because there's some stuff that is truly punishing to large groupings in tight places, like small spaces, like the essentially like the various different points that you have to hold.
Yeah. So that'll be an interesting addition. From there, we've also seen additional information on the blunderbuss, which would be a shotgun type weapon, high damage at a close range, but potentially a longer reload and potentially very weak damage at range. We don't know what the ability set for that's going to look like, so that'll be an interesting one to watch for. And the last one that we know that's being worked on is daggers, which will probably be more of a stealth item, and could be an interesting weapon change up for kind of a close range rogue type style.
I'm sorry, I was kind of looking at Duelist's new website that Big Bear was sort of like kind of linking to some degree. It looks pretty cool. It's newworldranks.com. It looks to be basically a leaderboard for various different companies as to their effectiveness in combat.
Very nice.
It's interesting.
Very nice. I also want to quick state this because I've seen a bunch of these pop through too. Thank you guys for the follows and subs. Like, really do appreciate it. It is a cool site. Looking forward to seeing how that goes.
Yeah, for sure.
Um,
All the best in that regard.
Absolutely. My hope is that they add kind of an API system to make that even better.
Yeah, we need a little bit of data coming out from the Amazon servers to work with, which would be really fantastic.
So, what should we be doing to help in-game leading up to the release? Can you give any tips on Xbox controller button mapping? So you can map. So here's the thing with controller mapping. You can do it. It's not officially supported. You can do it, and what I want to talk about on this is that it's possible to do. There are some caveats and some things that are not, the game's not designed to do very well when it comes to controller mapping. Things like splitting stacks in your inventory, it's just not designed to do it. I'm hoping eventually they do that, But that said,
Yeah.
almost every key is remappable.
Yeah, if you're a crafter, like I would suggest playing with a
Mhm.
keyboard and mouse. If you're not going to be crafting at all and like you're just going to be like running around, running, gunning, all that kind of stuff, then yeah, fair enough. Like as long as you're not splitting stacks like all the time, because that's going to get really, really, really painful when it comes to controller support. But the controller support that I used a third party controller support when it came to using a PlayStation 2 DualShock controller, DualShock 2 controller, and the program that I used there was a program called ReWASD. That is actually a pretty exceptional program. I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna sugarcoat that. It was actually surprisingly feature filled. In terms of not only just being able to remap keybinds to a controller or basically any controller. Like if you know anything about Sony and DualShock controllers, they don't particularly work too well like natively for PCs. So getting that to work like out of the box was amazing. But one of the other things is when it comes to obviously controlling your character, like you want to be able to fine tune the controls of the joysticks. And you can set so many different forms of sort of dead zones and sort of like movement curves and all that kind of stuff with it, which is really, really cool. I don't know what the controller support for the general Steam controller support is like. But if you find that lacking, then you may find that ReWASD is actually a good alternative to that. So there you go.
Um, from there, I'm seeing a lot of chat about the spear. I 100% agree. One of the problems with the
I love the
spear
spear.
is that, functionally speaking, if your opponent knows how to dodge, almost all of the abilities can be completely negated to the point where it's functionally inept. Like it's
It
yeah.
has a lot of flag, like your animations are flagged quite early. Like there's a lot of tell in what you're about to do with a spear. That's the thing.
Yeah. And not only is there a lot of tell, but like if you see it, all you gotta do is hit dodge, and you don't get tripped up. You don't get any kind of stun. Um, it's also not an overly remarkable weapon. Like, I like the spear. I like the concept of the spear. I think that it needs to be a little bit more, um, needs to be tuned up a little. Um, yeah. Um, let's see. From
There
there,
we go, Big Bear.
saw another question and I totally whiffed on it.
Yeah. That's probably that might be one. That might be a quick clip from Big Bear's
Yeah.
channel as such. But like, yeah, he goes into why you shouldn't use the spear, even though like my heart like really belongs to the spear.
Mhm.
Like at the end of the day, because really my ideal is being able to use a spear and a round shield like together essentially. Like that's
Oh,
that's that's what I want eventually at the end of the day. Not saying Assassin's Creed Odyssey was like the shit, but like yeah, that's how it felt.
absolutely. So stamina damage. So anytime that you were blocking, you receive stamina damage. So basically, your stamina bar goes down instead of your health bar. Once your stamina bar hits 0, it'll enter a phase where it goes gray and recharges rapidly, but you can't use it until it's back at full. This means during that time, you are completely vulnerable and you cannot block. It also means you can't dodge because you need stamina to dodge. So stamina damage is actually kind of a big thing. And it's the reason why you see a lot of people in this clip here wearing tower shields. Mainly
Yeah.
because tower shields give the 45% bonus to to stamina
Stamina
blocking.
reduction.
So
Yeah, reduction.
you're not taking the full hits anymore. And that's one of the reasons why the sword and shield combo is really quite powerful. For those that are curious on
one of the
what that
things,
is.
like, so long as you know what you're doing and you know the sort of, you know that you have a period of time where you can actually hit, like, get that kind of stamina, like, hit back from being at 0 stamina. Like, it can potentially be a situation where you can actually get stamina back a lot faster than if you didn't actually push yourself to be at 0 stamina. So, like, stamina regens at a certain rate, but when you hit 0 stamina, you have this cooldown and then it regens. And there are definitely moments where your stamina could potentially regen a lot slower if you don't actually hit 0 stamina. So it's like it's one of these weird kind of trade-offs. If you know kind of what you're doing, if you know the cooldown, you know that you have like the capability of being able to like deal with that cooldown without having to block or without having to dodge, then you can get that stamina back really quite quickly, comparatively to the normal way.
Yep. Beta keys will be going out tomorrow morning. So if you're waiting for those, it's going to be until tomorrow morning. There's no preloads, so once you get them, set up the key and you'll be good to go.
I believe, and I'm not, I'm not 100% certain on this, but I remember reading somewhere about this, somewhere official about this. I think it may have been on the Reddit, but on the Reddit, on their Twitter. But yeah, because Reddit isn't exactly official. Yeah, maybe I think it was a reply on Twitter in some shape or form. But I believe the keys are not going to be keys, essentially because they have, a list of your Steam account. It basically gets deposited directly into your Steam account, like when you actually get given access. So, you'll get an email saying that you have been granted access, and there won't be a key. As far as I know, there won't be a key there. You just have to go to your Steam library, and you'll see it in there, and you'll be able to download it.
Absolutely. I think that's the case as well. They're using the Steam playtest feature, so no Steam keys. Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah. It's a new feature. I haven't personally used it before, so we'll see how it goes. But I think it's gonna go pretty well. I have a feeling they're utilizing this so that they don't have to use their own sign-up thing.
I think it's a little bit more. I think it's a little bit more, a little better to be able to track, who's got a key, who doesn't have a key, and that kind of stuff. Like, giving people keys, the trans. I think that one of the issues may have been back in the closed beta that there was such a litany of keys available and out there that people who got basically removed from the closed beta because of various different actions, various different heinous things that they were doing in the game, were able to get back in because there was a predominant amount of keys available. But if they're able to lock the access down in a way that doesn't mean that people can basically find other means of access, then their ability to moderate the game is a little bit better, right? So I think that's why they're doing this.
Actually, one of the other things that's starting to come up here regarding permanently being able to permanently ban an account or ban a player, they're working on this for Windows 11 as a requirement, is a TPM module on your motherboard, which is literally like a hardware signature that if you receive a ban, it's tied to the data received from that module. So
yeah, and so
they can permanently ban you that way. in some of the games. Like Valorant actually has that as a requirement, or an upcoming requirement.
The idea is that you can't spoof the that particular piece of hardware as such, like, because we've all heard of like hardware spoofing, so we all know the kind of aspect of getting hardware banned isn't actually being hardware banned, because you got these third-party spoofers that are able to do that are able to basically spoof your hardware, so you can get around a hardware ban. But these TPM modules are supposedly meant to be different, right?
Yeah, they're meant to be a hardware solution. Oftentimes, TPM modules are used for things like Bitcoin wallets and stuff like that, because they are generally considered very secure. It's very, very difficult to fake them, and on top of that, it's very difficult to switch them out.
And the nice thing is about this is, if someone spoofs or is able to successfully spoof a TPM module, right, they're not going to be using it to carry on hacking in their favorite like multiplayer game. Like, if you've been able to successfully figure out how to spoof TPM modules, you have so much more like capability to be able to generate something from that than just some more salty tears from people on the internet. Like, as I said, like, it's functionally something that secures things like Bitcoin wallets and stuff, right? So basically the world is your oyster if you have that breakthrough unlock.
Now, of course, the other part of this is that they do have a pretty solid connection with Steam, which Steam is able to VAC ban you, which is a type of ban which functionally sucks if you have a large Steam library. But those are all things to note. Like, there is obviously they take the game very seriously. They are in it to build a good community. And I think that we're gonna see some people get banned. And one of the things that I say this all the time, but whenever you see somebody get banned, especially if they're live streaming, remember that the moment that they get banned is not necessarily the moment that they were caught doing something. And this is the same with like managing the subreddit. Functionally speaking, if you ban somebody, or like if I ban somebody, generally they did something 8 hours ago, and I'm just getting to it in the queue.
Are we going to milk this?
Talked about the pre-order bonus called Isabella's Amulet. We have. The pre-order bonus is a number of things, but among them is the Isabella's Amulet, which I believe is going to be very rapidly outpaced by in-game gear, based on what we know about it. But it'll provide an okay bonus in the very short-term startup of the game.
Yeah, because there's some pretty powerful amulets out there.
Oh yeah.
Like when you
a lot of the town
missions
missions and stuff like that will give you these really good amulets or rings or things like that will very rapidly replace the pre-order bonuses. I know for me, the big selling point for the pre-order was the skin and the dog.
Yep. I am in complete agreement there.
Yeah, as it should be, or otherwise it becomes pay to win. Exactly. If they gave you a super broken amulet that was, the only way to get it was pay for the deluxe edition, and it was like high-end end game gear, then like that would be very broken.
Oh, for sure.
So I'm happy. I honestly think that Amazon is doing a great job of staying away from any kind of pay to win. I know that in the past they've discussed the in-game store. We've discussed the in-game store. Functionally speaking, I think they understand where the limit is, and I know we've had discussions with them as well on it, and the community as a whole has had discussions with them on it, and they do listen to that feedback. So that's one of the big things about them, is that they are really good about listening to the feedback. And one of the things to note is that feedback comes in many different ways. If everyone's outraged about something but still buying it, then the feedback is not clear. So a good example of this was EVE Online started selling skill points, where you could just buy 1 million skill points for like $5. And there was a whole bunch of outrage. But everyone and their mother was like up in arms on Reddit, and then, on the side was pulling out their wallet like, let me get one of these for each of these accounts.
Of course you did, because the issue with that is, even though you are, even though you are outraged at the fact that this has occurred, the fact is it has occurred. And in a game like EVE Online, where it is a cutthroat hardcore PvP kind of game, you have to keep with the not with the current meta as such, like as you say, like you have to keep with the rest of the pack, right? And if the rest of the pack are purchasing this and applying the skill points, then you have to kind of keep with them, right? Otherwise you fall behind. That's the thing.
A note is that there is actually a way. Prior, you had to have done this a long time ago, but if you signed up for the game early on when it was announced, you actually got the game for free back in the day.
Oh yeah. I swear I
but there are certain people who will play New World for free, and it's not because they were just given it.
Although they were given it.
Although they were kind of they were given it. But like, that was when they originally announced New World, it was going to be free to play. And then they changed that to be the $40 and $50 for the deluxe.
Yeah.
Which I'd like to note is not the going rate for things like that. Like a triple A game. Like think about the interest in this game right now. A triple A game of the same caliber generally would go for $100 for the deluxe edition. Like Battlefield 2042 is $100. Assassin's Creed Valhalla for the deluxe edition, at least $100 for the high-end version. Like, they're asking $50 for the deluxe edition, and that's the biggest edition you can buy. So, like, let's be real. They're throwing us a bone on the pricing front here, and really breaking the meta of the industry. And I actually really appreciate that. And for me, it makes it a little bit nicer, because I can justify spending the money on skins and stuff like that to make up the difference. I have a different way of like pricing games in my head, where like I need to be able to get at least as many hours as dollars as I put into the game. And the unfortunate thing with New World is that I've got somewhere over like 3,000 plus hours. So like I'm in the doghouse on that one already.
Pony up there, Ace. Come on.
That said, like I've already got two shirts, a sweatshirt. I've got the hat. Given the hat was free as well, but that's a whole different story. Then I bought the game. I bought the deluxe version of the game. I'm sure if they do some kind of battle pass or something like that, I'll be into that as well.
I think
I've got all the drops so far too.
Yeah, I think in terms of battle passes, it's going to be a bit of a different affair, like compared to, battle passes or games that have done battle passes previously, like, because I don't think the traditional kind of traditional sort of form of battle passes will really kind of work with New World as such. Because you're not going to get an extra map, right? You're not gonna have like the only way that I could see like you getting an extra map, as it were, would be you have access to like currently in development areas of the map, which just won't work. Like just functionally that will not work. So battle passes, it's going to be different. It's going to be interesting to see what they want to do with it.
Yeah, it'll definitely be different, but I think it'll be actually something that people might enjoy. Functionally speaking, it becomes a system in which you can play to get the things, and then of course, if anybody's ever done a battle pass thing before, you pay, or you can pay to accelerate your progress through it. Generally, like I'm talking about other games right now. So like Apex Legends has a battle pass.
Yeah.
Do you ever feel like you're being too optimistic? I think I'm realistic with most things. Optimistic, I think sometimes I can be a little bit on the happy side, and obviously, like, I'm excited about the game coming out, but I don't think I'm overly excited. Like, I don't think I'm like, I'm not sugarcoating things that don't deserve credit. At least I hope I'm not.
I mean, I don't think you are. Like, I don't think we're going hot and heavy into controversial topics as such. But the other kind of thing is, I would rather be cautiously pessimistic or cautiously optimistic until I actually see, evidence and past behavior of, essentially, the developer doing, going in the wrong direction, or, having the wrong idea or the wrong sort of attitude to something, right? And the only sort of past experience that or past attitude that we've had from Amazon Games is their prior development of games that didn't really work out too well, right? So in that kind of sense, like, we can't really talk about what their DLC sort of ideas would be and how they would monetize that kind of stuff. Like, we don't really have an idea as to where they're going to be going with that in that regard. Everything else that they've said.
One of the things to note here is that, like, our opinions when it comes to Amazon really are focused around years and years and years of open communication with them. Like, we've had conversations with them. Like, we kind of know where their heads are. We know, based on like what they've done in the past. Like, a lot of people are new to the New World community, and that's functionally great. And they aren't going to have the background that we have with devs, where we can see over the course of the years them following the feedback, them following up with the player base to say, hey, here's what you asked for. Functionally, those kind of things, you build up that level of trust, and a lot of people will look at it and be like, well, how could they build up that trust? The game's not out. You gotta remember that the game has been in a playable state since 2018. Is when I started playing.
I mean, I remember when I started playing, in terms of the alpha, I literally, because I played early access games previously to that, and I played other games that were actually been on full release that felt more shoddy, more like hastily put together than what I played back in 2018. So
now that said, like, they could still go awry, but after years of us seeing them do certain things, and seeing how they operate, you know, I don't think there's as much of a risk of them doing things that people are not gonna like. And one of the things that's really stuck with it for me, when hitting on the labor of love comment there, I used to play EVE Online. One of the things that drove me away from EVE Online was that the devs stopped playing the game. Like, wholesale, almost none of them played. And that showed dramatically. Like, in conversations with them, they just didn't understand basic mechanics in the game. When it comes to New World, we've been playing with them. When we did the Amarin Expedition event, we had the opportunity to play with the devs, with their official tags on, the whole works. And then afterwards, we actually dueled with the devs for
like an hour or so, right?
Yeah, a good hour or so. We've got it all recorded as well. They were talking about all of the things and all of their hopes and stuff like that with us, while being competitive against players who have 2,000, 3,000 hours of gameplay in the game. So, like, they were able to beat me, which, like, I'm not saying I'm the best PvPer ever, but they were able to beat me, which says something when they're able to keep up with the player base. And that kind of thing, also, like, if you know anything about the devs, like, they play the game, they hide in plain sight. It really is great to see, because you'll see them running around the world and stuff like that. Like, they actually do integrate well with the community, whether people know who they are or not.
Yeah, and it was interesting because some of the stuff that they put out, some of the comments that they put out about the closed beta was actually alluding to the fact that they enjoyed, playing with, everyone else in the closed beta, which was clearly saying that they were there, they were, part of, all the chaos that was going on, like, all of the craziness that was going on in the closed beta, like.
So touching back on the cash shop, will be cosmetic only through at least the start of next year. I think they might add in some convenience type stuff past that, but I think we're going to aim to ensure that they know where the line is. So whenever somebody says convenience, finger quotes on that one, everybody gets worried, but like, that can range from server transfers to any number of things. And of course, obviously there's a gray line in the middle there of where the majority of people draw pay to win, and they've openly said they're gonna try and not allow any kind of pay to win in their store. And if we can functionally make skins and cosmetics be be substantial enough, then I don't think that there's going to be an issue. I don't think they'll change anything too crazy. One of the fears a while back was that they would sell Azoth, which I think would be a bad idea.
Because it's so one of the things is, when it comes to pay for convenience, you want to sort of provide a few services that are convenient for people, and provide a degree of value for that by paying for it in a certain degree. But like, what is the point where it becomes concerning is when that particular convenience that they're creating a premium service for is something that affects your ability to be competitive with one another, right? If it starts to directly affect competitiveness, that's when you know that it's the wrong type of convenience, essentially. when it's gone too far.
Exactly. And I think where they've drawn it currently is fine. And even I want to touch on one of the things they mentioned is rested XP.
Yeah, because
so
a lot of people get it.
Yeah, this one's a complex one because like people assume that rested XP is actual XP and it's not. So let me describe.
But it has
this
XP
system.
in the name, Ace.
Yeah.
It has XP in the name. It must be.
So let me describe this system so that people can understand why this isn't pay to win. So rested XP is already in the game. It's a thing that you accumulate while you are offline. You have to be offline for a minimum of 8 hours, and every hour after that, you gain 1% up to 150%, and that percentage is based on the level. So let's say you're level 10, and you're offline for 158 hours.
Yeah.
So now you'll be able to gain a level and a half the next time you log in, but the next time you log in, you're gaining that next level and a half at a faster XP gained rate. So like you go kill a mob, it gives you like a ×2 XP on it. It's basically designed to allow casual players who don't have a lot of time to be able to keep up and keep progressing through their levels without things being crazy bad.
Because not everybody who can play this game can no life this game for a week or a month or whatever, right? So
it also only applies to your character level. So like up to level 60, it doesn't apply to any of your harvesting or trade skills or anything like that. It's only for your main XP pool.
Yeah.
So functionally speaking, if you were to sell, let's say like you sold a rested XP booster that enabled you in an offline status to earn twice the amount of XP or twice the amount of rested XP, which again you still have to log in to get, but would obviously be easier to just play the game and gain that XP that way. So functionally it doesn't work as a mechanic for getting yourself ahead of anybody. It only works as a mechanic truly for the casual player to keep up with everybody else. Yeah. So I know it requires a really convoluted system, but it's actually a really artfully created system that really actually kind of allows them to target the pool of people that they want to get to level 60, but are going to take an immense amount of time getting there. And like when they announced the cash shop, it was one of the things that they mentioned they might do, and everybody just saw XP.
Yeah, everyone freaked out about it.
Like,
but
understanding that system is key to actually understanding why it isn't pay to win. Like they went through and identified that of all things as a possibility, instead of doing the easy thing that World of Warcraft does, where like they just sell the here's level 60 for $60, like which nobody thinks is a good idea.
And that's the thing about the difference between the rusted XP and like something like very baseline like what WoW basically did was you still have to do work to get it, and it is not just a flat thing. Like you accumulate it over time. So you can't just log off for an hour, get a rested XP bonus, and then log back in and have like 3 levels. Like you have to go and do something else, be part of reality or do or play something else or be part of something else, something other than New World, for like 150 hours to be able to get that XP in its entirety from rested XP, right? And when you log in, it isn't just given to you straight there and then. You have to go and do the work for it.
Now, the other side of this is that almost every game goes through this like feature creep type deal, and I agree that it's concerning. Like, it's something that we're actively going to have to fight against. We're actively going to have to turn around and say,
Mm-hmm.
hey, no, here's where the line is. Don't cross it. Um, and this
And
is
trust
where,
me,
like,
I've
understanding
seen,
their mentality,
yeah,
like, you got to understand Amazon as an umbrella company to understand their process here. Um, Amazon doesn't do the short play. They don't care about the 2 week, 1 year, 2 year plan. That's to them that's irrelevant. Like, that's already been planned in concrete and has been part of their 10, 15, 20-year plan. Um, Amazon's not about, they're not going to change things quickly. They're too big of a company to do that. So they know they have to plan long term. Um, so understanding how they operate internally, I'm going to use Amazon Fresh as an example. For anybody who
yeah,
doesn't know this, Amazon has a grocery division which will deliver food to your house. For those that don't know this, grocery is a hysterically low profit margin market. Like, it is not the marketplace you really want to be competitive in. Starting up a service that delivers groceries from a centralized hub and all of that is a challenging endeavor in itself. But entering a market that's not very profitable, especially to start with when you don't have the market share, is difficult. Over time, Amazon is willing to take massive losses building that sector because those people will be more integrated and more likely to go to their website, more likely to do other things within the Amazon umbrella, and all of these other things, that they're willing to take those losses for years while investing in building out that sector of their business. This is the same with
yes,
Amazon Games, where they're willing to take a loss for years and years and years and years. Because to them, building the studio, building the impression of the studio, building the overall um, you know customer satisfaction, is more important to them than the quick buck.
yeah,
You know, and I think that's something worth noting. That's it, most people see Amazon and they go, "Oh, they make a ton of money. That this is probably going to be bad." Like, um, but they've got a lot of people that work for them that also like really know what they're doing. There are a lot of seasoned vets that, in terms of game development, really know what they're doing, and they're able to get really good people. So I'm like, this is one of the like, we've been able to talk with them and understand this about them, and that's what gives us this kind of optimistic outlook, is that we know that their heads are in the right place.
yeah.
You know?
And even though they've had like some issues with putting together or putting out a game that does well, like this is a thing that happens with every studio. Like it's if you do your research and look at the history of various different studios, like they've all done, they all started out and did fairly poor kind of initial kind of games. Then they're the games that people forget about. They're the games that are never really talked about, when that particular studio ends up putting out a hit, right? Because that's the one that people remember.
Mm-hmm. I
And so
without googling it, I don't think anybody can tell us the first 5 games that EA Games launched.
yeah, I highly doubt
I'm sure
without
one of
people
them's
googling
probably
it.
FIFA, and it hasn't changed since. But
Somehow they found a market that was willing to just basically allow them to you know uh, you know
yeah,
destroy their wallets with, but
yeah,
that's a special kind of that's something special for sure.
absolutely. Um, you know, I think something like Party Finder. It really depends. Like, there are bad ways to do a party finder, and there are good ways. Like, let's say you like queued up for, like Outpost Rush. Queuing up for Outpost Rush is a good example of this actually, because it actually does find you a group of 20 people to join. So it does kind of already have a party finder feature, in that it's trying to balance the two teams that are going to go against each other. But I also really like the social aspect of standing outside of one of the expeditions and being like, hey, who wants to take me into this dungeon? And it's all fun. Like, it's really fun when you're like the level 60 standing outside of Amaran Expedition and everybody's like clamoring over you to be like, oh my god, we're going to be able to power through this. Thank God.
Yeah.
So like I appreciate those kind of things. I think that the area chat and stuff like that really enables that right now. But it also creates a lot of opportunity for people to just chat and get to know the people around them. Yeah. After the stream, we normally hang out in our public voice chat on the Discord. So if you guys are game to chat afterwards, we're normally always in there. The link is right there. I can talk sensitive stuff afterwards as well.
We can always discuss our what our
thanks for the sub.
Opinions are and stuff like that. Yeah.
And thanks to everybody else. I know I've seen a number of follows as well. So like, thank you guys for the support. Like, it really does mean a lot. Mad cool. Hey, we do it for you guys. You guys are the cool ones.
Yeah. There's also our Twitter and YouTube, by the way. Just if you guys are interested in following us there. That's always good. We're in the process of refining our sort of processes for making YouTube content. I've been kind of doing YouTube content basically all day today.
At a certain point, we've got to call it good enough and just launch it.
Yeah, I know. There's certain things that need to be finalized with it, and then we're good. But
if they'd have paired me with IGN, they would have made it through that expedition. IGN, like, wow. Like, the really funny part about that, the Amaran Expedition event where IGN only made it to like the first boss, was that like they started us at like level 30, so like you're above the expected level for the dungeon. You're geared, so like there was really no excuse.
And the other thing is like, for that particular press event, the New World kind of devs were actually taking part as the actual healers as well. I believe like they were, at least one of them was being a dedicated healer in that particular situation. So how they were able, how they functionally weren't able to get there, I have no idea. But...
yeah IGN failed to make it through the first boss in Amaran, so it's not the first time they've embarrassed themselves as gaming media. So so we will likely do a patch note stream tomorrow, where we'll talk about the changes and what we can expect, the gameplay to feel like afterwards. And of course, I've got gigabit internet, so I'll be online about as fast as we can.
You'll be downloading it while also streaming, waiting for it to finish and all that kind of jazz. We'll be talking, because as far as we know, the patch notes are going to come out literally on the dot sharp at 7 a.m. Pacific time, which is 2 p.m. UTC or 3 p.m. I believe British Standard Time, British Summer Time. Sorry. So yeah, like we will be around to talk about the patch notes while downloading the game and getting into it as fast as possible.
Yeah, that one was comical to watch. Yeah, the first 5 EA games. I don't know if anybody remembers any of those. Like, I feel like I might have played Hard Hat Mac, but like,
Yeah,
I don't remember any
yeah,
other ones.
I don't remember any of those. But that's
Um,
the thing, you know. Like, were any of those a hit? Like, I don't think they were. Like, and those are 5 games, right?
mhm.
You know.
Yeah. So like that's one of the kickers. Apologies, the bot can be a little aggressive. Our auto mod is. I don't know if you guys know there's this thing going on Twitch where individuals have designed basically like hate raids. So we have our bot tuned to be like, police brutality level defender, because like, simply put, like, we don't want to deal with the problems that exist. At the beginning of this stream, an account followed us that actually rose alarms, because it follows the same naming scheme that a lot of these hate raid bots are a part of. So like, we're keeping an eye on that. And it's really for everyone. So
I'm literally on our Streamlabs, on our cloud bot with on our word protection preferences, sort of thing, like ready to set new blacklist like words just in case. Like, we were kind of expecting something, and as far as we can tell, it didn't happen.
Hoss, HOSS, and then like 4 numbers is generally the bot. Generally one of the bots. They've been banning them back and left and right, but it's a challenge. But the nice thing is the bot only times you out for 1 second, so it doesn't like auto ban or anything like that.
And just because all of your stuff gets lined out, it doesn't mean that it gets removed from the bot. So don't worry about that.
Yeah, I know back in the day, the bot used to be set for like the default list of words, and one of the default lists included the word book. Like, don't know why, but that was apparently banned. Like, I was like, what the hell is with this bot? Like, yeah.
I can partially understand why certain words sometimes get on blacklists, particular blacklists for streamers, but like how it got onto a default blacklist, I don't know.
So this said, we've been going for about an hour and a half. I want to thank everybody for all the follows, the subs. I want to thank our Patreons. I want to thank anybody who's joined the Discord, followed us on Twitter, the whole works, and anybody who's just following us, or just watching the show. Like, you guys are the reason we do this, and we are immensely thankful for the opportunity to be streaming to 171 people. So that said, again, thank you all. We're going to wrap things up for the day. We generally hang out in our Discord post-show, so you're welcome to join us in public chat voice or public voice 1. Be more than happy to chat for a while. I got to switch over some audio stuff, get on my normal headset and all that, but
I'm going to carry on with YouTube content
while
talking to you guys as well.
So with that, thank you guys, and we will see you in the new world.